Hello friends, how's it going? It's me, Betty Jean. In today's video, I want to chat about the brands I tried for the first time this year in 2022. I usually also end up doing a video every year where I talk about brands I want to try in the next year. So I also like to reflect on things that I tried that were new this year as well. Some of these brands are not new brands, they're just new to me, and I tried quite a lot. It's funny, I actually tried exactly 22 brands in 2022. I did not plan that. I couldn't believe it when I wrote it all down. But yeah, these are all brands that were new to me, things that I tried for the first time, sometimes multiple things, sometimes just a random offhanded thing. I have some brands that I very much look forward to continuing to use in the future. Some brands maybe not so much, and I'll explain why. I have mostly makeup. I have one skincare brand, I think, and one nail polish brand, and I figured I would include those in this video as well, especially because as I was counting the brands that I had, I was like, if I include those two brands, we'll be at 22. So yeah, we are gonna hop into it. Before we do though, I did of course film this look. It should already be up on my Instagram and TikTok by the time this video goes up. And as far as my accessories today go, these plugs are Love Kills Boutique, cute little snowflakes. This necklace was a gift from my in-laws, and this hat is a CC brand beanie off of Amazon. I also love this cozy little sweater. I think I got it like last February at like Target or something. I've had it for a little while now, but it's just like so perfect. I was feeling very wintry today. So yeah, without further ado, let's chat about these 22 brands I tried in 2022 for the first time. All right, first things first, I actually don't have these first couple anymore, so I'm gonna do a little scooch so I can insert some pictures. First off is Kosas. I was really interested in trying them this year, and I did, but barely, but I still technically did, so I'm gonna count it. I tried the Air Brow, like brow gel, at the very like beginning of the year this year. I think I bought it at the tail end of 2021, and I tried it at the beginning of 2022. I did like it, I used it until it was gone. I don't think I will repurchase that brow gel just because I've discovered some since then. The NYX Thick It Stick It, for instance. This is like super glue for your brows and I love it. But I did like the Kosas one, and I do want to try more from them. Their concealer and like foundation look really hydrating and lovely. I don't really need new ones at this moment, especially because I just did my declutter series. I'm feeling very content with what I do have. But I do want to try more from that brand, so let me know what your favorite things are. Next up is Charlotte Tilbury, one of my longtime salon guests. She gave me some makeup that she wasn't using anymore, and part of that was the Hollywood Flawless Filter, like primary highlighty type product. I did really like that. I used it until it was gone. I just had the mini size, and I really liked it. It was wonderful. But then e.l.f. had to go and launch this, the Halo Glow liquid filter, and I love this. I use this all the time, and it is a fraction of the cost. So whenever I run out of this, I will absolutely repurchase this instead of the Charlotte one. I don't know if I'd say they're like exact dupes, but they are quite similar, and they do a very similar thing where they just give you a really glowy complexion. They're not foundations, but they do just give your skin a really nice kind of glow appearance. You know what I mean? You can mix it with your foundation. You could use it as a highlight. I mostly just use it as a primer, and I love it. So don't know if I'll try that one again. I don't really know if I'll try really anything else from Charlotte Tilbury. Never say never, obviously, but the brand is a little out of my price point. I was willing to maybe repurchase that Hollywood Flawless Filter, but now I have another option, so there's that. And also Patrick Ta. This was also from that box of goodies I got from my longtime salon guest a while ago of things she wasn't using anymore. It was one of the blush duos in the shade She's So LA. It was a cream and a powder. I actually used this more as a blushy bronzer hybrid because it was a little bronzy to be a blush, but a little blushy to be a bronzer, so I kind of used it as both. I actually really liked the formula. I used the cream side mostly, but when the time came for me to do my declutter series, and I was really picky this year on things that I actually wanted to keep, that one didn't end up making the cut. I just felt like I didn't love it enough, especially because I was kind of keeping it with my bronzers, and I didn't end up loving enough to justify keeping it, but I did really like it for a while. I might try more from the brand in the future, but again, they're a little outside of what I want to spend on makeup typically, but again, never say never. There are some really lovely things the brand has. And I did like the formula, so maybe I'll try more of the blushier colors for me one day. The lip glosses look really good, but yeah, I did try Patrick Ta. Next up, one of my favorite brands to happen this year. This is a brand new brand. Fantasy Cosmetica came a swingin' this year. They launched their first products, and these palettes are absolutely amazing. The Druid is the first one that launched, and I'm obsessed with it. This is still like one of my favorite palettes, if not my favorite palette that's launched this year. It's just so good. The Sorcerer was their next palette. Look how beautiful. It is so pretty. I've done many videos with all of these across my YouTube channel and my Instagram and TikTok. And then the Bard is their most recent one. And they're all just so good. The mattes are so pigmented, so blendable. These shimmers are mouth-wateringly shifty and amazing. I love the theming. I think this is such a cool brand, and I am so looking forward to seeing what they do next. Next up, Lois Cosmetics. I discovered this brand last year, but I didn't try them until this year. I bought the Meet Me at Midnight palette, and it is so good. Look how amazing this is. This is so pretty. And then after I tried it and loved it, the brand did reach out and sent me their Meet Me at the Underworld that I did have my eye on last year. I just didn't end up getting it, but I'm so glad that I have this because it's so pretty. I'm really into this brand. I'm excited to see what they do in the future. I think they have a good thing going for them. I like their matte formula. It's very buildable, blendable. It's very lovely to work with. The shimmers aren't crazy, sparkly, shifty, but they do have a really nice metallic finish. So I'm into them. I want to see what more they do going forward. Reza Beauty. I'm going to spare you the long story that I've given 100 times, but I don't know if the brand sent this to me or if this was a subscriber gift because it just ended up in my separate mailbox. But regardless, I do have this, the Sweet Tragedy palette. It is a coffin. I do like the packaging, and this is what the inside looks like. There are some pretty shades in here. I like these two shifty ones specifically, and I do like this green and purple, but there are a lot of things that I don't really care about in this palette. Like there's a lot of like brownie shades that just don't do anything for me. I don't personally need a black and white in a palette, so I just rarely touch those. And some of these shimmers down here, they're okay. They're just not as shifty amazing as the other shimmers in this palette. So I did actually end up decluttering this in my eyeshadow palette declutter. It's not the worst palette I've used or anything, but again, I was being picky in my declutter series this year. And this one didn't quite make the cut, so I'm gonna give this one to a friend. I'm just hanging on to it a little bit longer until I've done my ranking at the end of the year. But yeah, I did try Reza Beauty. Wasn't blown away. It wasn't horrible, but I wasn't blown away. Next up, Adept. I've never tried this brand before until Heather Austin came out with her collab, and it is so pretty. Heather did such a fantastic job. These shimmers are so good. They all have beautiful shifts to them, and they are so smooth on the lids while giving that amazing flip with the colors. And the matte she chose I really like as well. I think this is a really fun palette to use, and I'm so happy for Heather. And I'm happy that I finally tried Adept for the first time. They're not a brand that I feel like I need to impulse buy everything from, but they are on my radar. I'm happy that I tried their formulas. Might pick more up in the future. What's Up Beauty? This is the Geodes palette. They sent me their Geodes palette and the matching nail polishes, which I didn't bring upstairs. I had a lot to carry upstairs, but they did send matching nail polishes as well, and I do like those nail polishes a lot. I use them pretty frequently, especially the shade. It's one of the shades in here. Earth-like, I think, because there's a shadow that kind of matches it. This is what the palette looks like, by the way. It's so pretty. But there were lots of nail polishes that matched some of the shades in the palettes, and I love those nail polishes. So if you go on their website and look at the Geodes collection, highly recommend those. And I don't dislike this palette either. The shimmers in here are really, really shifty, really special. I did end up decluttering this one as well, but I almost kept it just because these shimmers are really pretty. However, I do have really pretty shimmers throughout my collection at this point, and the mattes in this palette, while the formula isn't bad, the colors aren't like something I need to reach for constantly. I really like this kind of grungy taupey shade. Love the yellow, but besides that, they're kind of just like run-of-the-mill shades for me, not something I had to have in my collection. So I am giving this one to a friend, again, once I get through the rest of Vlogmas and do my ranking video at the end of the year, but yeah, I did end up decluttering this, but I did like playing with it, and I am curious about what they do in the future. Next up, I got a little subscriber gift from a couple brands from like overseas drugstores in like the UK and things like that. A couple of the things I loved. One of them I did end up not keeping just because I, again, was being picky, but let me get into that. First is the MUA Makeup Academy, this liquid cream blush. It's so pretty. It literally looks like this watermelon color you see on the package. Such a lovely liquid blush. I did keep this one because I was really impressed with the formula, and the color is pretty unique to what I have as far as my cream blushes go. I'm super excited about this one, and I'm really glad that I got the opportunity to try it. I know these brands aren't readily available to me, and I'm okay with that. I don't need to have every brand like super accessible to me, but I'm really happy that I got to try this, and I'm glad that it worked for me. Next was from Makeup Gallery, and I'll try to find a picture here. One of my friends must have already snagged it because I checked my declutter box and it was gone. So one of my friends is happily using it right now, which is my goal. But it was a little duo blush. It really wasn't bad. It wasn't bad at all. I don't really have anything negative to say. It was more so just, again, I was going going pretty hard with my declutter series this year, really trying to curate it down to things that I was loving the most. And that one just didn't really measure up to some of my favorite blushes. So I did end up deciding to give that one to a friend. I'd much rather one of my friends use it than it just sit and collect dust. So that one I did end up passing to a friend, but again, I don't really have anything negative to say about it. It just wasn't mind-blowing for me. They also sent me a shadow from Pastel Roses, which will move into like just my next segment in general, because the Pastel Roses did also send me a bunch of singles and they're so pretty. This one, Cat's Eye, is the one that I got as a gift, and then the other ones were sent as PR. And I love them. I have done a full swatch party video on all of these shadows, specifically in like its own dedicated video. If you're curious about these, they are amazing, shifty, sparkly, magical. I'm so happy that I got to try this brand. I'd heard about them, but they hadn't been heavily on my radar, and now I'm just super excited to know that they exist. I also tried some little like flake products from them, like loose little like flakies. They kind of look like glitter on the eyes, but they're not glitter. They're like flakes, so they don't get in your eye and blind you. These are really cool. I'm really excited about this brand as well. Next up, Creature Cosmetics, and I will insert a picture again. I actually talked about this recently in a makeup disappointments video, but I tried this liquid lipstick in the shade Frank. I was super excited about the color, but unfortunately it was very streaky, hard to get an opaque, clean layer on my lips. And then once I did build it up, it was just so thick and dry feeling. Honestly, one of the worst liquid lipstick experiences I've had. It was not fun, and now I can say I've tried Creature Cosmetics, which has appealed to me for the spooky aesthetic, but I don't know if they're for me. Their eyeshadows don't really scream to my soul, and now I'm weary of their lip products, so maybe I'll try more from them in the future, but I'm definitely not super excited about them, unfortunately. Next up, the brand Bubble Skincare reached out, wanted to send me a couple things, and I've tried a few things from them at this point. I use this Daydream Tone and Texture Serum, vitamin C and niacinamide. I use this every few mornings or so. I do really like this one. I like the way it feels on my skin. I'm not a skincare expert. I always have to preface this. I know it works for me and my skin, but I'm not out here trying to give you skincare advice. But I like the way this one makes my skin feel. I have normal to dry skin for reference, and it seems gentle. It hasn't irritated me or anything. I also like this Deep Dive AHA PHA exfoliating mask. I feel like this is very similar vibes to the baby facial from Drunk Elephant. I think it's slightly different ingredients. I'm pretty sure that one is AHA and BHA or something like that. Again, I'm not a skincare expert, but I do like this. It feels like a very like gentle chemical exfoliator, and I really like this. I don't use it very often, maybe once every like 2 weeks or so, kind of just whenever I remember. I used to be such a mask queen. I like to wear a mask like every other day. Now I'm lucky if I remember to wear a couple masks a month. I just forget about it all the time, but I do like this one when I remember to use it. It makes my skin feel really soft. It feels really fresh and plump in the morning, and I do like this. So excited to try more from this brand, Bubble. Next up, Sigma, probably the most popular brand I have to talk about in this video that I am so late on the train to trying. They reached out and they've sent me so many things at this point. I feel very spoiled. I've tried so many of their brushes, and I totally understand the hype with their brushes now. They are so good, luxurious, soft, vegan brushes, because I personally don't use natural hair, and I love those brushes so much. I've also tried 2 of their eyeshadow palettes, which did survive my declutter. I'm really excited about them. This is the Alice in Wonderland palette. It's really pretty, and I'm really impressed with the formulas. The mattes are so rich and pigmented, and the metallics just look very shiny on the lids. I don't know, I feel kind of glamorous when I wear these palettes. Same with the Cinderella palette. I do enjoy cool tones a lot, and this just feels like a cool toned glamorous dream. A little bit of like muted, dusty, grungy shades as well. I really like this one. I feel like this is a very unexpected color story for like a Cinderella palette as well, which I personally appreciate. I also have tried a few highlighters. This is my favorite one, the one I kept from my declutters, the Moonbeam. It's just so bright. I love it. If you're looking for a good smooth highlighter, you'd probably really like these because these aren't glittery. They're just smooth and bright and wonderful. I've also tried a bunch of blushes from them, and I've kept all of them in my declutter. These have blown me away. Some of my favorite blush formulas I've ever used. We have like Bronze Star, which is like a shimmery, bronzy one. Porta Rosa is a classic. Like, I understand why this one's hyped up so much. It's truly just such a beautiful shade. Love the pigmentation on them. They build up nicely, so it's not scary right off the bat, but they are really pigmented, which I appreciate, and they blend so easy. Tiger Lily is a really pretty, like, shimmery peachy color. So good. I love the glowy blush formula specifically. And Nearly Wild is another just matte one, but it's such a pretty, like, coral shade. I really like those blushes. I've been very impressed with everything I've tried from them. They did send me like a little color correcting duo. That's not really something I personally utilize. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't for me. But aside from that, everything else I've tried from them, I've really enjoyed. Jolie Beauty. This is another one where I had high hopes. It just didn't work out for me. They sent me this package that included the Ethereality palette. Looks like this. It is a really pretty color story. I love this kind of enchanted blue, green, purple vibe. It's just, again, I was picky in my declutter series this year. This one did not make it. These two shimmers in the middle are mind-blowing. If all the shimmers in this palette had been that formula, I might have kept it, but there's a lot of pressed glitters in here that I'm not going to use. And the other shimmers in here, they're just a little more satiny subtle for me. Not really into using those. The mattes are fine. They weren't mind-blowing, but they weren't bad. So overall, it just wasn't enough for me to keep it. But I am happy I tried this brand out. They were new to me. I'd never heard of them before. In that package, they also sent me 3 liquid lipsticks that went with the collection. One of them my friends already took. The other 2 are still floating around until some of my other friends go through my declutter box. But Incantation and Bittersweet, beautiful colors. I love this muted pink and purple. It's just very similar to that Creature Cosmetics liquid lipstick I talked about earlier. Very streaky to apply. And then once I got them applied, they were very dry. So not my favorite formula to use, unfortunately, but I am happy that I tried this brand out. I'm not writing them off or anything because I think they have potential. I'm just not like overly excited either. Lawless. This is a brand that I'd heard of and I was fairly interested in, but I wasn't like going out of my way to try them. And then they randomly reached out and sent me a package and I've been so thrilled with them ever since. I use this brow pencil every single day. I wasn't even a brow pencil kind of girl until this. I just found them to be, I don't know, I just didn't like pencils. I liked using felt tip pens or pomades more, but this one I actually really enjoy. This one's in the shade Pecan, but I've also used Teddy Bear. I just totally ran through that one and this one's very similar. I also like their mascara, which I'm not the best judge at mascaras because I wear false lashes most of the time and my natural lashes are kind of ugly. This one does make my lashes look decent though, and it doesn't transfer on my lower lash line or anything throughout the day, so that's a win for me. But the star of the show with this brand are the lip products. I love these glosses so much. These plumping glosses are so good. One of my favorite gloss formulas of all time now. I'm obsessed. This Cherry Vanilla is one of my favorites. I also wear this Secret Magic and So Me a lot. These are fantastic glosses. If you like plumping glosses, you would probably love these. Also, the lip plumping overnight mask is so good. I have 2 of them. This one's Birthday Cake. I keep it right here because I'll wear it during the day too. It doesn't have to be overnight. And I have my Cherry Vanilla one downstairs in my bathroom. This is so good. I wear one every single night and most mornings whenever I'm getting ready up here. It's just amazing. My lips truly feel a little more plump and hydrated first thing in the morning. I feel like I haven't had dry lips in months ever since using these. I'm obsessed. I'm making such big dents. Like this one already has quite a dent in it. And my one downstairs is getting pretty low. So I'll probably move this one downstairs once I'm out of that one. I love those lip products. Like became some of my favorite things of all time this year. Bella Beauty Bar. They reached out and they've sent me a couple palettes. First is a Celestial Garden in collaboration with M Jones 5018 on Instagram. It's so lovely. We have beautiful shimmers, amazing mattes, and these really fun split pan cake liners at the bottom. I really like this palette. I feel really creative when I use it. They also sent their Strange and Unusual, and this one is so cool. Obviously, I love Halloween, spooky vibes. I love a Beetlejuice theme. The shimmers truly are the star of the show with their formula. Like their mattes are good, but their shimmers are mind-blowing for me. They are just so shifty and wonderful on the lids. Love this palette. This is my favorite one from them. And we have the newer Angles of Illumination 3. This is a full 15 pan all duochrome palette. This is so fun as well. Again, just the shimmers are so lovely on the lids, so shifty, so amazing. I've been really impressed with this brand as well. I'm glad I got the opportunity to try them. They've also sent me like a liquid shadow that is beautiful. They've sent me like a little like jelly chromy flakes thing where it's like gel, flaky, multi-chrome. It's really cool. So I've really been interested in them ever since then. I think they're a really cool brand and I'm excited to see what else they do. Gourmand Girls. They've also sent me a couple things and I'm just so excited about this brand. I think they are absolutely going to go places. They are so wonderful. The owner has always been so kind to me as well, and I've loved the palettes I've tried. First one I tried was the Spooked palette. This was in collaboration with Doodles by the Bunny. Look how wonderfully amazing. It's such a good Halloween palette. The shimmers are so so good and just shifty and wonderful on the lid. And the mattes are really amazing in this palette as well. And then I tried these two all shimmer palettes. This is the Radioactive. It's so pretty. These shifty, wonderful shadows. And then also the Ethereal palette, another all shimmer palette. So incredible. I've just really been impressed with this brand. I'm really excited to see what they do in the future, and I'm happy that I got to try them. REM Beauty, I got this as a gift, and I have used it once on my own time, but I haven't used it on camera yet just because I haven't had the perfect look for this yet. I got this in autumn, and for me, I think I'm gonna use this a lot in the spring, but I am excited about this color, this highlighter in the shade Mama Earth, this beautiful like springy green color. It's so cute. I don't really have a minty highlighter like this. And the formula seems really nice, like a very smooth glow, not super sparkly, which I do love a sparkly highlight. I also can get down with just like a nice glow, and I like that it has this mint vibe to it. I'm excited to play with this one some more. I don't know if REM Beauty is like my #1 brand that I'm super interested in like trying a lot from, but I am excited about that highlighter specifically. Concrete Minerals, I got some of these loose shadows as a gift. Got a pack of I think 8 of these little multi-chrome loose shadows, and they're fun. They do look pretty on the lid. I've used them a couple times incorporated with looks, and they're nice. They have good shifts to them. I'm trying to move this around so you can kind of see how it changes colors. I just don't really reach for like loose, opaque shadows like this. If I'm gonna use something loose, I want it to be kind of like light and iridescent. If I feel like I'm gonna use something like very opaque and multi-chromy, I'd rather just reach for one of my singles if I'm being honest. I know this brand's been around for a while, and these aren't bad to work with if you like loose shadows and you want something multi-chrome, you'd probably love these. However, this just isn't my perfect product. Somehow these also didn't make it in my declutter series at all. It could have just been I didn't get around to using these until after my like glitters and loose shadow declutter, but I am actually gonna give these to friends just because I think I have some friends that will use those more than I will. I'm glad I got the opportunity to try them, and again, they're not bad. They're just not something I think I'm gonna regularly reach for, so I'd rather give them to one of my friends who will. Next is probably one of my least favorite things I've tried this year. Unfortunately, I did talk about this in my makeup disappointments video as well. It's from Wednesday Cosmetics. It's the Blood Moon palette. I was actually really excited when this showed up. I think this color story is really cool. Unfortunately, it didn't work for me. And this is similar to the Reza Beauty one, where I don't know if the brand sent me this or one of you sent me this because there was no note or anything and nobody has confirmed or said anything otherwise. I'm assuming the brand sent it to me, but I'm not positive. But this just wasn't my favorite thing to work with. I found the mattes to be pretty patchy and difficult to use, and I'm pretty decent at making pretty much anything work. This was just a little more troubling for me. A lot of these shimmers are very just satiny, not super impressive for me. This Transcendent shade is really cool. It looks kind of wet on the lids. That's kind of what saved my look when I did play with this, but overall, this was not my favorite thing to use. I'd never heard of this brand when it arrived to me. I don't know how much I'm itching to use this brand more. Not saying I'm writing them off or anything, but it wasn't a great first experience. And last but not least, I tried the nail polish brand Mooncat recently, and I am obsessed with them already. I have a feeling this is gonna be one of those brands that every time they have a sale, I'm gonna pick up a couple polishes. I've used most of these at this point. I haven't used this one yet, Moon Dust. It's a really pretty topper with like different sparkles in it. It's hard for the camera to even capture it, but it looks really pretty, like very iridescent. I'm excited about that one. I'll probably wear this on top of a black, knowing me. Mercury's Tears is so good. This was the first one I wore from them. It's so pretty. If you've seen me in like recent videos over the last few weeks wear this like amazing shifty blue polish, it's probably this one. Blood Moon is really cool. I was wearing this one recently as well, and it's just gorgeous, very dark, and it has really pretty shifts to it. But the star of the show is this magnetic polish in the shade Illusionist. It's so cool. I'm wearing it right now. My nails are probably like 2 weeks old at this point, so it's not looking like brand new, but they still look pretty darn good. This is such a cool polish because you use a little magnetic wand that it comes with, and it creates these really cool shifts in your polish. It's like the fastest nail art you'll ever get with no effort. I'm obsessed. I want more magnetic polishes so badly. Very impressed with that brand. Those are the 22 brands I tried for the first time in 2022. I would love to hear your thoughts. Have you tried any of these? Are you interested in any of these? Which brands did you try for the first time this year? I would love to chat down below. If you made it to the end of this video, why don't you leave Ooh, leave an emoji you only just started using this year. There's gotta be something you weren't using before that you now use. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. It helps my channel out a lot. And if you're not already, you can follow me on my other socials. You can join the battybean fam. I am battybean on everything, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. And if you want, you can subscribe if you want to see more of my videos. I'm posting every single day in December. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next one. Okay, bye. I forgot something. I forgot something. Wow, I've been chatting about these brands for a long time. I've been here for a while. Editing Betty Jean is not gonna be pleased.